Journey. Tomorrow at 9, 6 Pacific. Behind the scenes.
Well, freeze me so one day you can bring me back again.
Beyond new worlds.
Would you like to take a trip in here?
Look within your dreams.
Mike Jarek.
Let me show you around.
And commentary by Harlan Ellison. Sci-Fi Buzz. Coming up next. You are watching the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh no, I may have broken the Sequest set.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Actually, it's Sci-Fi Buzz. See you in a bit.
The buzz is on Jurassic Park this week. Meet the people who made this piece of fantasy look real. What was Rod Serling really like? We asked Twilight's own producer, Buck Houghton. We'll crawl through the horror chamber in the Hollywood Wax Museum. And it's the birthday of first mom in space, June Lockhart.
And will the computer also take into consideration a man's love and concern for his family?
Hello, Buzzers. Welcome to Sci-Fi Buzz. I'm Mike Jarek. Now, this time around, we're all over Hollywood to bring you the latest in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. This time, I'm on the set of Steven Spielberg's brand new TV series called Sequest DSV. Is this a great set or what? Now, supposedly, this sea craft is 20,000 feet under the sea. No wonder I'm cramping. Oops. Oh, let me get that for you. Sorry. You know, we need a set just like this on Sci-Fi Buzz. We could use a pool, huh? Lounge out a little bit. Well, more about Sequest later on in the summer, but this time around I want to tell you about what the big news is in Spielberg land. It has to be Jurassic Park. Just saw the film last night. Boy, is it good. You know, it's been 60 years since King Kong turned on monster moviegoers to special effects. Well, now King Kong has a run for its money with the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park.
You know what this is? Dinosaur egg.
This summer's most hotly anticipated movie is well on its way to becoming a behemoth at the box office. The big question for monster lovers is, do Steven Spielberg's prehistoric players cut the mustard on screen? The answer is a resounding yes. These babies are as frightening as Spielberg's Jaws and just as hungry. And they will not appeal to the squeamish or the Barney crowd.
Are those meat-eating metosauruses?
Jurassic Park is a violent and suspenseful science fiction thriller, and it will go down in history as the first dinosaur film in which the giant reptiles look frighteningly real.
This isn't Gorgo, this isn't Godzilla, you know, this isn't the beast from 20,000 fathoms, you know, this isn't Dinosaurus, and this isn't The Lost World. This is really a movie that I think is really happening.
Thanks to Spielberg and his team, guys in rubber suits, lizards with fake fins, and jerky stop-motion photography are now extinct. These dinosaurs were created by merging two different cutting-edge effects technologies. Stan Winston, who created the Terminator and Alien, designed 9 different species of dinosaurs. He then made 5 life-size mechanical models as puppets or robots.
Look at the wheeling, uniform direction changes, just like a flock of birds evading a predator.
Then groundbreaking computer-generated images were conjured up at George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic. Can you tell that these gallimimuses were created at a keyboard?
The fact is there are no miniatures in Jurassic Park. You see no miniature dinosaurs. There's no stop-motion animation. It is literally 2 technologies, state-of-the-art of 2 technologies. And then those 2 technologies come together. What you see is no technology. What you see on film are dinosaurs.
A crucial element in the development of the monsters had to do with understanding how dinosaurs move and behave. The effects team consulted with paleontologists, studied animal movement, and even enrolled in mime school. They were trying to learn such things as how dinosaur skin moves over bones and how a T-Rex reacts to light. Yes, their pupils do dilate.
Turn the light off, turn the light off.
We used all of the existing research available so that we could, in fact, create the most dramatically accurate dinosaurs that anyone has ever seen in film history.
But how do you aerobicize a 9,000-pound Tyrannosaurus Rex that stands 40 feet tall? Winston attached his to a modified flight simulator. After schmoozing with Stan at the studio, we wanted to get up close and personal with a T-Rex or two. Rumor had it that Winston had to raise the roof on one wing of his complex to accommodate the monsters, so we were sure we could spot them. But the creatures were nowhere to be found. Surprisingly, Winston wasn't anxious to show off his museum-quality models. And even now that the Brontosaurus is out of the bag and in the theaters, Winston isn't giving away any secrets.
If you ask me specifically how we did that, I won't tell you. And the reason I won't tell you is I think it's a mistake for us to take that magic away from you as an audience. It's a first, and I don't see how it can be topped.
Those dinosaur special effects weren't the only high-tech thing in Jurassic Park. Listen to this. Steven Spielberg would check on the special effects and improve them from a hotel room in Poland. He was making a film there, and the effects were being put together at Industrial Light and Magic in Northern California. So he'd film during the day in Poland, run back to his hotel, look at a satellite feed of the effects from Northern California. An unusual way to complete a film, I know, but Steven Spielberg is not your ordinary director.
This is Rick Deldager from Pine Grove, Kentucky, and I'm calling to recommend Shadowhawk 2 by Jim Valentino in Image Comics. Shadowhawk is the story of a vigilante anti-hero who is opposed by both villains and superheroes. It's not to be missed.
Rod Serling, what was this genius really like? Some insights from the Twilight Zone. And Harlan Ellison after this interruption.
So, you want to save on long distance? What a pain. Restrictions on times of day, area codes, calling circles, and there's no guarantee you'll save. Except with the Most. It's like a 1 billion megabyte brain at Sprint. It figures out who you call the most and guarantees you savings every month. 1 month your best friend in Alaska, next month your new best friend in Lahaina. Isn't science wonderful?
Now get $50 free long distance with the Most, only from Sprint.
Take Kraft Ranch dressing. Throw in the taste of rich sour cream. Conjure up a minced onion. And what do you get? New Kraft Sour Cream and Onion Ranch dressing. Its mystifyingly unique, cool, and creamy taste will make salad lovers everywhere describe it as truly magical. Sour Cream and Onion Ranch. New from Kraft.
He's bold. He's brazen. He's the Sci-Fi Channel's Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers.
Tomorrow night at 8. You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Success in life is the result of preparation and having the right tools. To become the person you've always wanted to be, select Nordic Flex Gold. You provide the effort, and Nordic Flex Gold provides the means to your personal success. You want to develop the poise, confidence, and energy that come from a strong, toned body. And just like these people, you can have that body in just 12 weeks with Nordic Flex Gold. Some people spend a lifetime wishing for a great body. Now with Nordic Flex Gold, you can unlock your potential in as little as 12 weeks. Nordic Flex Gold features linear motion and patented isokinetic resistance, providing results fast, up to 70% faster than with rubber band machines or even free weights. Now is the time to act. Great muscle tone, 3 times faster fat loss, increased energy, as well as poise and confidence can all be yours in just 12 weeks with Nordic Flex Gold. To order or for more information, call now.
Yes, Mr. Wilson?
The Twilight Zone was one of the most celebrated TV series of the 60s. And in the 30 years since its original run, it's been one of the great hits of the rerun zone. The show has also become a hit on home video, with a collection of episodes available from CBS Video.
this aeroplane is heading into an uncharted region, well off the beaten track of commercial travelers.
The genius of The Twilight Zone was the genius of its creator, Rod Serling, who died 18 years ago. Most fans only know Serling as the intense man who hosted the series. But to Buck Houghton, Rod was a friend and colleague. As producer of The Twilight Zone, Houghton worked more closely with Serling than anyone else. For fans of Serling's fantasy, we tracked down Buck to get a personal glimpse of the legendary talent.
He was always a guy with a very short span of attention, smoked an awful lot of cigarettes, which isn't, by the time he gets to the third pack, it's a nervous gesture. It's not a need for tobacco.
Houghton remembers Serling as a creative dynamo, with ideas bursting out of him so fast that a typewriter only got in the way. So Serling dictated the show's scripts to a tape recorder.
Rod, with a tape, could do a script in 24 hours. And if he had to peck it out on a typewriter, it'd have been 2 days. And he was a very fast thinker, and therefore anything that sped up the process was to his advantage.
Rod was undoubtedly the most prolific writer in the history of prime time, churning out a staggering 90 out of 156 Twilight Zones. The stories often reflected a preoccupation with intolerance, the nuclear threat, and prejudice.
I took it off a Jap officer who tried to cut off my noggin. There's something engraved on it. Maybe you can translate it for me.
Sorry, I can't speak any language but English.
Houghton thinks Serling's social conscience may have been a byproduct of his Jewish ethnicity.
I don't think a man who's raised in the Jewish family and so forth could fail to feel a little distinction about himself that maybe got his dander up once in a while. So he never expressed his, I don't know of a Twilight Zone that has anything to do with anti-Semitism or Semitism or anything about it. But it does give rise to a quick perception of injustice or social injustice.
Houghton believes that, ironically, the same nervous temperament that drove Serling's prolific creativity also caused his premature death.
A guy that can't sit still for over 10 minutes has got something metabolically or neurologically speaking that's going to wear out. The smoking was a manifestation of that too. I can imagine that would cause heart problems, which is indeed what he died of. There's too much tension constantly.
The rest of us will never know the man behind the craggy face and the sinuous voice which introduced each Twilight Zone. But his extraordinary imagination will continue to intrigue and entertain us.
I'm Tom Kraus. I enjoyed The Emancipator by Ray Aldridge, a book in the style of Arthur Conan Doyle. It is action from page 1 all the way to the finish.
I was lecturing at State University of New York in Stony Brook a few years ago. And one night late, they asked me if I would do a session at midnight. I'd been lecturing all day and having a good time in the classes. And I said, sure. I said, but anybody who comes out at midnight to hear me has got to be a damn fool. There must be better things to do at midnight. I said, but if a couple of people come, it'll be all right. As Freud said, put 2 people together, I'll teach a class. Well, midnight came, and by George, there was a full room. It was jammed to the walls. People were sitting chock-a-block. And I started talking, and I began reminiscing and ruminating and talking about this, that, and the other thing. And one of the things I said was, I'm going along, and I said, blah, 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 something or other about Dachau. And I went on a little longer, and a young woman raised her hand in this crowd. And this was a science fiction crowd. This was an audience of people who are supposed to be fairly literate and supposed to be fairly smart. And she said to me, and this was a young woman, maybe 21 years old, 21, and she said, you named someone a few minutes ago. I didn't recognize that name. Who was that? And I said, a name? Which name do you mean? I mentioned a lot of names. She said, well, somebody like Dachau. And I said, Dachau? Do you mean Dachau? That's the name you didn't recognize? And she said, yes. Well, there was a gasp from the maybe 200 people sitting there. Now, to their credit, at least half of them understood. The other half were totally bewildered. And so I began getting a very strange, dawning awareness of something. And I said, how many of you here don't know who I mean when I say Dachau? And at least half, 100 people, raised their hands. And I was appalled. I was saddened and appalled. And I said, folks, Dachau was one of the most notorious, infamous Nazi death camps of World War II. Millions of people passed through there and wound up as smoke, or little bars of soap, or lampshades. Dachau is a name that should live in infamy forever. People who read science fiction should have a sense of historicity. They should have a sense of the past. They should abide by Santana's adage that those who do not remember the past are doomed to repeat it. I said, how can you not know the name Dachau, Buchenwald, Treblinka, Bergen-Belsen? How can you not know this? Well, it was, I guess, the first time that I realized we suffer from something called cultural illiteracy. And it assails the world of science fiction as much as any other genre, as much as any other world, any other milieu, any other purview. We have an increasing number of people who forget the past. That's why we have skinheads. They don't believe World War II happened. They don't know about the Vietnam War. They don't know there were 2 world wars. The only reason they might know is because they have a Roman numeral. They know 2 came after 1. And to them, the war in Vietnam is as distant as the Wars of the Roses. This is deadly for the field of science fiction, and deadly for writers. Because if writers cannot use the reference that they need to make a point, then they are going to have to write down to the audience, and the audience becomes culturally more illiterate, steadily and steadily. We have a great many writers who write television now who are base all of their knowledge on sitcoms. They don't read books anymore. New York editors who have no history of what has gone before in the field, and they sell you mediocre writers month after month instead of reprinting Kuttner and Simak and Lee Brackett and Ward Moore and Alfred Bester. And I tell you truly, those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it.
A trip to the Hollywood Wax Museum's Chamber of Horrors, and First Mom in Space, June Lockhart, when the buzz reconnects.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Hold on to your butts.
Where extinction ends.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Adventure begins. Universal Pictures presents a Steven Spielberg film.
Clever girl.
Jurassic Park, rated PG-13, now playing at theaters everywhere.
Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to?
Science fiction.
The minute you wanted to? Learn special things.
That's all taken from jazz. Now, any questions?
From faraway places.
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question.
Or tucked your baby in. From a phone booth. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
The people at Canterbury Clocks realized that to grow, they had to switch gears. So Joe called Microsoft and asked for this free video for Lotus and WordPerfect users. The timing was perfect. He saw how upgrading their software could save time and effort. How with Microsoft Excel they could add profits. And chart their progress. Word for Windows showed them how to communicate clearly and emphatically with their entire organization. Now Canterbury Clocks has more time to build their business. And Joe, he got a big hand. Millions of people like you are making the switch, so call for your free video and see for yourself how Microsoft Excel and Word for Windows are changing the face of how business does business.
In the heart of Hollywood, some of the most evil and sinister and beloved characters of the silver screen are immortalized right here at the Hollywood Wax Museum's Chamber of Horrors. Shall we?
A Hollywood institution since 1964, the Wax Museum has close to 200 figures on display. We had the odd pleasure of talking with the guys who cook up this stuff. Curator Kenneth Horn and assistant curator Steve Kirk.
What are you guys doing to that woman?
Hi.
How you doing?
Pretty good. My name's Ken.
Oh, you have wax hands. Okay. Linda Blair, right?
Yep, from The Exorcist.
Oh, what's the vomit made out of?
It's actually made out of green oil paint mixed in with a little
sawdust.
Sawdust.
Now, which one of you guys made this woman, so to speak?
Well, we both worked on it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we both made it.
What's Linda made out of?
She's made out of wax, and the body's made out of fiberglass. We pre-fiberglass the body, so it stays up and doesn't melt on us. The hands and the head's made out of complete wax.
Can I touch her hands?
Mm-hmm.
Ah! Oh. What doesn't feel like wax? I guess it's just really hard wax.
Yeah, it's hard wax, and then there's a coat of oil paint on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't shine.
Yeah. What's the most difficult thing about making a figure like this?
Well, the hardest thing is getting their face.
Yeah.
Getting the face of the character of the actor, or the character of the movie that they're doing.
Yeah. What about her hair?
Her hair? Well,
I mean, that's not real hair, is it?
No, we use basically synthetic wigs. And then when we need to do wigs blending, we have a little device over here. And this is what we use. And we'll take a ponytail hair, the synthetic ponytail, our human hair, and then we take crepe wool, which comes like this.
Yeah.
And then we'll blend the hair through this. We'll just keep on doing this until we get kind of a blackish gray hair. We can get any color of the actor we want by just blending the hair. Then we'll cut the hair like this, and then what we do is we put it this way, and then we glue it right to the wax figure.
Do you guys feel like Frankenstein sometimes, or
working on this kind of stuff? Yeah.
Is this fun?
Yeah, it occasionally gets boring because you start talking to the wax figures, they don't talk back, so you kind of get lonely. You're working away.
So would you say this wax museum is the most comprehensive museum of its kind?
It's the one I know that has the biggest horror chamber.
We really set an atmosphere. The way the horror chamber is set up, we have different areas set up. When you first step in, you're out in a graveyard with trees and things like that. You enter a mausoleum. You go into the horror chamber itself with the rack and all that. Down into the sewers for the Phantom of the Opera, and then around to the haunted house where Elvira is.
And now for the scariest, creepiest, most horrible monster in the whole entire Hollywood Wax Museum. Here it is. Whoa, dude, that was scary.
We try to set different little motifs. We've got sound effects that are in there, music playing and things like that to really give you your money's worth, give you a little show.
Steve, thank you very much.
It was a real pleasure.
Letting me come in. Boy, this is fascinating. Keep up the good work.
All right.
All three of you.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see you later.
See you. Hey.
Oh.
Thank you.
Farrah Fawcett.
Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. June Lockhart, still in our hearts. Next.
Boom! Last Action Hero. What do you think of anyone who doesn't see this movie?
Big mistake.
I love this place! I think it's the biggest movie of the summer. And now when you go to Burger King and order a flame-broiled Whopper with large fries and a medium drink, you get this Last Action Hero animated action cup free. Like him, you can be large and in charge. So see the movie and collect all 4 cups. It's your way, right away. I love this place, and I'm going to see the movie.
We're talking bass fishing all day, all night.
Presentation on video.
Come back, I love you.
Ultraverse comic books on sale today.
Comic book store. Let's go.
They couldn't be there in 48 for the launch of that Super Guy, or in 62 for the launch of that Spider Guy, but they can be there now for the birth of the Ultraverse!
Whoa.
Line! That way!
Prime Hard Case, first editions in comic shops June 16th. To enter to win one of 200 special edition posters, call this number now.
You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
What? Jason's gonna be there? Looking out
If you think your face is special, other people will too. So use Noxzema every time you wash. It's better than soap. Dissolves oil without over-drying for healthy-looking skin.
Your face belongs to Noxzema.
And here's a different kind of Noxzema, Noxzema Plus, with an added moisturizer plus a fresh scent for healthy-looking skin.
Your face belongs to Noxzema.
Where am I? In the village. What do you want? Information.
It's a question of your resignation.
Top secret.
State secret.
We want information.
Who brought me here?
Information. Whose side are you on? Information. You won't get it by hook or by crook. We will be seeing you.
The Prisoner, tonight at 10, 7 Pacific on the Sci-Fi Channel. Coming up on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Okay, staff, who was the first mom in space?
June Lockheart.
Nicely done. And whose birthday is it this week?
June Lockheart.
A little more enthusiasm. And how old is she?
Ageless.
Did you take your sister's laser gun?
No.
Ah, the trials of trying to raise 3 kids in outer space.
Motherhood's been a good dodge for me, though, but doing Lassie was, of course, the first big role that I had as a mother. But I had a whole career before that in New York during the golden age of television, and also had made a debut on Broadway as an ingenue.
June Lockheart equals mother is so ingrained in the minds of baby boomers that the actress takes great delight in revealing her other side.
Once on Gunsmoke, I played an alcoholic nymphomaniac murderess.
June, many people don't realize what a true rock and roll goddess she is. She introduced me to a lot of great bands when we were doing the show. She had the Allman Brothers, who had a band called the Hourglass at that time, play parties at her house, and they came down to the set. She took me and Angela to the Whiskey A Go-Go to see the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. She's a great lady. I see her at rock concerts all the time.
Mother, come quickly.
More on the side of June Lockheart that isn't Maureen Robinson in a moment. What about the side that is?
Well, I always wanted to be Dale to Flash Gordon. And I can remember as a child, 6 and 7 and 8 years old, rushing to get the Sunday morning paper so I could read Flash Gordon and see what Dale was doing. So that we were about 3 months into the series, and I suddenly thought, my God, I fulfilled my fantasy. I am out here in space. I am getting to be Dale to John Robinson's Flash Gordon.
The first season of Lost in Space did resemble Flash Gordon enough to give June a thrill. But by the 3rd season, the earnest melodrama had given way to full-fledged camp.
I should say that there was one episode called The Vegetable Rebellion, and Guy and I were literally written out of the next 2 episodes because we giggled all through the shooting of it.
Well, whatever it is that carrot may have in store for us, we're getting out of here now.
Well, everybody turned into vegetables. As soon as they sat down, they took root. But Jonathan was a celery stalk, and Stanley Adams was a carrot in it. So, I'm mean.
As silly as the series seemed at the time, June is able to look back with pride at the impression it left on young people.
I had this wonderful tour of NASA, and I got to climb in and out of the shuttle where they train and go to the pool and see how that's all done and the weightlessness and everything. But I was astonished to meet so many flight directors, astronauts, engineers, physicists, people around in the space program who all said to me it was Lost in Space that made me know as a child that I wanted to be in the astronaut program.
Now, what about this David Bowie photo in the bedroom?
It's a big picture. David Bowie, that's right.
Can you picture Maureen Robinson having a crush on David Bowie?
And I've never met him. I don't know how I will handle it if I ever get to meet David Bowie.
I think June Lockheart would do just fine. It'd be David Bowie I'd worry about. Remember, David, this lady is not what she seems to be. Right, Dr. Smith?
You poor child. If only you knew. If only you knew.
Each and every day right here on the Sci-Fi Channel, you can still see the Robinson family lost in space. Also check out each and every day on the Sci-Fi Channel something called the FTL Newsfeed. It's actually a lot of fun every day right here on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Next time, a new time. Sci-Fi Buzz will be seen at these times on Sunday. Zap to us for these great features. The creator of the aliens on Star Trek, Michael Westmore. Arnold What's-His-Name and the special effects from The Last Action Hero. And some classic bloopers from the Sci-Fi Channel's Dark Shadows.
I'm Mike Jarek, and remember, I'm the only host here on the Sci-Fi Channel who actually grew up on planet Earth.